Do you notice people in Asia may be more hung up on the financial success than in America? People are queuing outside of Chanel for handbags and Louis Vuitton, like almost all the time.
A lot of relationships, money is a huge factor. Of course, she was making a lot more money than me too.
Yeah.
Of course, I felt like, I felt the pressure, I wouldn't say I felt insecure, but I was like, well, I just didn't feel I was worthy, for Wall Street.
Right.
She was, already a tier one, celebrity here at Media Corp. I had just arrived, and I was just kind of getting my feet wet. Do you think you've gone through relationships that have actually stopped or been compromised because you didn't think you were making enough money to be considered successful to provide for these women?
Yeah, it's come up.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
Hey everyone, I'm Allan.
And I'm Bobby.
And you can call us
Daddy.
All right, Bobby, I think we're going to get right into it today. I think there's a topic that has always been taboo through the ends of time, and that is you should never ask a woman her age.
And her weight.
That too, I
That's
guess.
true.
And also a man his salary, how much he makes.
True.
But today we're going to actually try and figure out and define like how much a guy should make to be considered successful. Let's just go right into it. We're
Yeah.
obviously older men now, and we want to talk about, for you, I think, obviously you know that, you mentioned earlier that
Right.
when you were growing up, right, it was always that pressure to make a certain amount of money, a certain amount of money. That way you felt ready at that point to become a daddy, to start a family. But how much do you think a man should make, a daddy should make in order to be considered successful?
I mean, I guess if you look from a Singaporean's perspective, 10K a month probably would be you can do it for obviously less, but 10K gives you a little bit more comfort so you can save a bit. Foreigner would be different. I'd say probably double that at least, but for our local, definitely around 10 plus, yeah.
I know you've been with the same person for quite some time now
Yeah.
too. And is there anything holding you back? How much is there pressure for you to make a certain amount of money in order to take it to the next level? Or do you feel like, okay, is it also contingent upon you wanting to start a family with this person? Or do you feel that pressure yourself, let's say, to provide for her?
I mean, I think there's always that pressure. I was brought up very traditional, so my mindset may be different from other people out there. The man needs to be the provider. He needs to provide for the family. Not to say that the woman doesn't need to work. Of course, I'd like that to happen as well. And my partner does work, and she's very successful. But I also want to be able to provide. So I think now at my age, to be able to put money aside to save, because in our industry, it's just so tough, man. It's like from one thing to the other. It's like our monthly income varies dramatically. You know what I mean? Based on the time of year it is, the work that we do. It can be great one month and the next month not so good. My happy figure in my mind that I think that I would like to be at is around about 20K a month. If I could be around 20K a month, I can save, pay for a rental. If I want to put money aside for a trip, I haven't gone on a vacation in over a year. I just don't travel unless it's for work, because I can't afford that extra money to go travel when I have bills to pay, rental, medical bills if it comes from my dog or for myself or whatever the case may be. You just don't know. Things happen as we get older. So I just don't have that luxury of that breadth, making 10K a month for me as a foreigner. Local, I think you definitely can do it. But I think for a foreigner like myself, it's a little bit more challenging.
Well, I think our whole topic today is talking about how much we think a daddy or a man should make in order to be considered successful, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that number changes based on whether you have a family or whether you're just a single guy? Do you think 20K is a golden number? Or do you think it's 20K for a foreigner, 10K for a local, 15K if you're local with 2 kids, 30K if you're a foreigner with 2 kids? Or do you think there's one number? I mean, for me personally, I think it's just a number. I think from there, we kind of decide how we want to live our life. Obviously, there's a certain lifestyle. If I'm making 20K a month versus 10K a month, my indulgences, my choices in life are going to be a lot different. If I am making 10K a month and I have 2 kids, again, I'll probably travel less. I've experienced it all. You have your highs, we have our lows, right?
Yeah.
We never know how much we're gonna make, when our next job's gonna pop up. We don't have a steady income, but then that's why you're always, I think you're always, living to a certain extent, hand over fist, where you wanna live, but you also wanna save money for yourself, for your family too.
But I mean, because when you get older, you do want to experience some of the finer things in life. You know what I mean? It's like when you're younger, it's like you struggle to make money. So when you're older, you can travel, you can see things, you can enjoy things that you probably couldn't do when you're younger, because you're sacrificing that time for your children to grow up, have a good life. And then when they get to that age, they can go on and they go to university, they're building their own lives. And then usually it's like then the parents can get to enjoy their lives. You know what I mean? So I understand that aspect, but at the same time, I feel like as you get older, it's not a bad thing. We don't have to have the nicest car in the world. We don't have to have the nicest watches, the nicest clothes, or the nicest home. But you do want to be able to like enjoy life a little bit more. You kind of feel like, hey, I've put this much work into life. I want to enjoy a little bit more. And then there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know. I mean, I think 10K for a younger family is great. But as you get older, you want to make more money, wouldn't you?
But I think, now, let me reframe this whole question, I think, for you too right now. When we talk about, let's say, who you are now versus who you were, let's say, 30 years ago, when you're dating someone now versus dating someone back then, do you think you've gone through relationships that have actually stopped or been compromised because you didn't think you were making enough money to be considered successful to provide for these women?
Yeah, it's come up. It's come up in the sense that I've had women come to me and say, well, you don't make enough to really have, let's start a family with us.
And how does it make you feel when you hear that?
Not good, obviously. But but that's part of life, you know? And I mean, and I think that this is something that a lot of men do face this, you know, this situation. And I think especially in a country like Singapore, which is a very beautiful country, and the great people are fantastic, but there is a pressure to live in this country and to be successful based on I mean, you can see, how would I put this? Being that we're both from America and we live in Singapore, right? Do you notice people in Asia may be more hung up on the financial success than in America?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think also we live in a metropolitan area. It's you know, we're very, very city life.
But you know what I mean? Like people wait out line, people are queuing outside of Chanel for handbags and Louis Vuitton, like almost all the time. But in America, you don't see that. You know what I mean? In America, people will get by just, you know, basic. You know, they can get by really basic. But in Singapore, there is this, or in Asia, I should say, you notice there's this lifestyle of wanting to show your achievements by the things that you own.
Well, that's more because, like I said, because whether in Singapore, like in any large modern city, any metropolitan, cosmopolitan city, let's say like a Tokyo or a Seoul,
right.
Shanghai, you know, I think it's, you're in the city, people are driving nice cars, they're eating well, you know, they're wearing like, you know, a lot of luxury items, you know, and then you start comparing yourself to other people too.
But with that said, do you feel that, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking earlier, is that do you feel that women will judge men based on a suitable partner? Not all, obviously, everybody's got their own, but just some will say that, will judge based on, okay, this person's got the car, the credit card, the condo, the five C's they call it.
Five C's, yep.
And they sort of, they look at that and say, okay, this person will be a suitable fit to have a family with versus this guy who is, let's say, an artist, for example, or someone in the creative industry who, you know, 1 month does well, next month doesn't well. Do I want to be with this person? Is my life going to be stable? Do I really want to have kids with this kind of person? That's where the challenge, I think, comes, especially in today's era of where I think it is challenging for a lot of men and challenging for a lot of relationships is the financial aspect of that.
Well, I think that has never changed through the, if you meet someone, if I'm a guy and I meet a girl, right? And obviously you get to know each other, you know, in the beginning you hope it's an initial attraction, not where she's automatically like starting to deduce the 5 C's or how much does he make, do I see him as a potential life partner or future partner, but somewhere along the way it's going to transition. Obviously, let's say you start dating someone or I'm dating someone, you know, and then you get to a point where you guys obviously progress in your relationship, then it becomes a lot more, I think, in the beginning, I would say it's more idealistic. You know, you like this person, I like you. Then it becomes more realistic. How practical is this arrangement? Is this person going to be able to make enough money to provide for me? And only then will I be deemed called successful, you know, like in doing so. And a lot of times, like you said, I mean, I could be with one girl, you know, that needs to live, you know, like in, you know, a certain area in Singapore, drive a certain car, eat a certain thing, travel, or you could be with another girl that doesn't need these things at all though too. And that means that number would be a lot different in terms of that whole lifestyle too.
Right, but I mean, for example, like usually the first question is hi, what's your name, where are you from? And let's say, what's your name, where are you from, what do you do? Those 3 things, and the third question is the big question, what do you do? Because that is the basis of where that next line of conversation goes. So with that said, the pressure of making a certain amount of money does come into play because if you say, well, oh, I'm an artist.
Hypothetically, obviously I know you're with someone now, but let's say you meet a girl,
Right.
and you guys are talking, and you say your name, and and then she asks you what you do. How is her general reaction? Now, in this being, let's say who you are, what do you say you are? Do you say you're a DJ, a host, artist,
Well, I've been
actor?
a DJ a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just say basically,
yeah.
I say I work in media. So content creator, actor, host, I do all these things. So that's what we all do nowadays. We're kind of multi-hyphenated.
When you say that, this girl, what would her reaction be? Do you think she's like excited that you do it? Do you think she's like, oh, she's
I
like,
think
oh,
a lot of times, okay,
like, oh,
I can
it's
talk.
just-
Well, it's been a while since I've done this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah.
But,
in this day and age, with the population in Singapore, if you meet someone, let's say you meet someone younger or older, like, are they impressed that you do this? Do you think they're more like, oh, he's maybe like, I mean, do you think they're impressed or not?
I mean, I think there's a curiosity there, because obviously now with the way social media is being used and utilized and the success of social media with people on the platforms and nowadays in media. So there is this idea that people in this, format of or this category of business do make a decent amount of money. It's not bad. So there's that.
They're usually the young people.
Yeah,
That's
the
the
young
thing.
people.
Yeah,
So
the
there's
young
that
people.
interest, which we'll talk probably in another episode about this whole category on its own, right? Which is very interesting. But I think that there is interest there, but then it's the what comes after that.
Okay.
So I think kind of going back to the topic at hand of what is successful. Obviously, I think we can put a number on it: 10 grand for local, for example, 20 grand for, let's say, a foreigner at least, maybe even more depending on the aspects of it. I do think that there is preconceived notions or conceived ideas of what somebody needs to make, and what female or other male partners may look at a partner and say, okay, I can see myself being with this person for a long period of time, and I will invest my time in this person based on this. Or if they're just having a good time, they don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
I do, and I think going back, I think it's always a moving target. As we get older, like as you said earlier, the older we get, right, the more we want to enjoy life, the more we want to travel, the more we want to buy nice things, the more we want to live in a nice place, maybe drive a car. I mean, for me, as I've gotten older, I realize I don't need any of this shit. When I think about how much you as a man need to make to be successful, it doesn't need to be that much, I think, though, too, because as long as you know what's important to you, or the person you choose, your partner is very, very important. Right. If you're a single guy, then it's super easy, because everything you do is about yourself.
Right, that's
true. It's all about yourself. It's like, do I want you to spend a lot of money on food? Do I want to save up, for a big trip? Do I want to go to, Tomorrowland? Do I want to, travel to Timbuktu? Then you would need to earn a lot more money, because you have a lot of things that, from Fight Club, end up owning you, because they end up being things that define who you are.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I'm actually just happy who I am. I can live in an HDB. I can go out for a walk, on the PCN. I can, just, go eat simply, make my own food. Then you don't need that much to be. You don't need to have that pressure to give yourself to, want to make so much money though too. Because I think that pressure in itself is very, very, I don't want to say toxic, but it gives a lot of people a lot of stress,
No, I mean,
because everyone, like you said, because we're in a society where everyone's comparing themselves to everyone too. Like, oh, how much is this guy making, or what kind of car he's driving, what kind of watch is he wearing, what kind of clothes is he doing, And I think for me, as I've gotten older, I mean, I used to be like that though too. I was that guy. I was like, when I had my college girlfriend back at UC Berkeley, right? We were together for 4 years, and I mean, she was ready to get married, and I was like you. I never felt I was ready. I was like, I just got out of college. I'm working at a biotechnology company, and I want to start a family one day. It was at that time I was probably 23, 24, years old. But I had that pressure, because the more that they love you, the more you want to, give them a good life. And so it's like this, this never ending, downward spiral where no one's ever happy. Bobby says, 10K is good for Singaporean, 20K is good for, a foreigner. I say 10K is good. Like we get caught up with these numbers and stuff though too. When for me, I realized it's not really the number. It's me kind of taking a step back and realizing, what is it that's important in my life that I really need to have in my life? Do I need to go stay in a five-star hotel? Do I need to go to Michelin restaurants? Do I need to drive this kind of a car? Do I need to live, here? And you have to kind of pick and choose. And if you really do need all these different things, the 5 C's, or need these luxury items, then you need a lot more money.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just depends on, who you want to be with. You want to be solo and on your own, you can make those decisions, but sometimes it is challenging. And I think probably a lot of guys in the audience know this, is that sometimes there's the family pressure from the woman or from the man is that you got to meet a certain caliber of person to have a life with. So I mean, I see it from both perspectives. I get you. I mean, you're on the bohemian kind of living the life right now. But I mean, there's also the other aspect which I think is relevant, is that for a lot of young guys out there, even guys in their mid 30s and even early 40s going, okay, I want to find someone suitable to settle down with, but I also want to, you want to be with someone that it works out financially too.
No, absolutely. I mean, for a lot of relationships, money is a huge factor, and that again defines, how much a man should make. Let's say I'm a single guy, and I'm happy with how much I make, but then I start dating someone, I'm with someone, and then she wants to always. I mean, I know a lot. The situation happens a lot.
Sure.
We start dating someone, in entertainment, they're used to a certain lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
And they all want to eat, go to nice restaurants, want to travel all the time. Been there, done that,
Business class tickets, everything else, yeah. But you know what the interesting thing when you talk about
and then you want to start a family on top of it,
right?
And so you're doing all these. I think you make enough already. You're by myself. I'm successful.
Yeah.
I make enough. I do everything I want. I'm happy with what I'm eating. I go work out. I play sports with my friends. I travel, go back home, or go here and there. Then I start seeing someone, and then obviously she kind of turns your world upside down for better and for worse. Where you have someone new in your life, and then either you're paying for her all the time, or you guys split it, or she's covering for you, but then obviously the entire financial dynamics completely changes. In my own personal experience, I've realized that there isn't an actual number. I think for us, if we're able to take a step back and be a little bit more, I think, reflective and a little more, I think, objective about what really makes us happy, that is, then once we're able to figure that out, but of course, I also have to find someone that maybe is aligned that way. But maybe let's say I meet someone who likes to have all those things, then I'll have that added pressure. Then I'll feel like I'm not, up to spec. Yeah. I'm not, the definition of a successful guy, because she wants to go to a nice restaurant every week, right? Let's say spend $1,000, at some nice restaurant.
Isn't that nuts though? Isn't that absolutely nuts to be spending $1,000 on food? That's crazy.
It is. It's so easy now in this day and age, because food is so expensive, and I mean living is expensive, and so that people give themselves a lot of pressure. I think it's important. That's why me, spending more time in Bali, has helped me kind of take a step back and see everything from a different vantage point too. Yeah. We have to go in there and take a step back and realize what makes me happy, and only when I'm happy, that to me is true success.
With that said though, because you and your ex were in the same industry, right?
Yep.
So was it ever competitive at home, like who made more this month, or who made more on this job, or this series, or this ambassador role, and et cetera, et cetera?
I think in the very beginning, when we were first just starting to get to know each other, back at Media Corp, and then we started disclosing how much we're making. Of course, she was making a lot more money than me too. Yeah. Of course, I felt like I felt the pressure. I wouldn't say I felt insecure, but I was like, well, I just didn't feel I was worthy, for a while. Right. She was, already a tier 1, celebrity here at Media Corp. I had just arrived, and I was just kind of getting my feet wet. There, of course, is that sense of like, now I got to work even harder, But then, as a lot of people know in our industry, it's not like I can say I want to work harder, I'm going to get more work. It's like we're at the mercy of the entire industry, whether it's the casting director, Media Corp, the TV station, the production house, the client, I think though too. So there is that pressure, but I think once we kind of got to a point where we kind of knew that we were going to be a couple and we were locked in, like let's see where this goes. Sometimes like she gets a huge campaign, like a 6-digit campaign, like a global campaign, or I get this job. I think for me, we were on the same team. Yeah. We're on the same team. We're here to try and build up a nest egg or a future to start a family. So that felt good. I mean, of course, she gets a really big job. Like wow, but then I'm not like we're like competing for the same job. Right. We're on the same team. In the beginning, there was that sense of like maybe like insecurity, but after a while, it's like we're on the same team. It's cool. But then as we'll talk about this maybe in another episode, because I can go on and on about this too. It doesn't always stay like that, because once you realize what you need to be happy and what your partner needs to be happy are different in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of their lifestyle. And it's like trying to find that middle ground, that compromise where you're both happy. Maybe I need this much to be happy and she needs this much, and then at what point are we willing to sacrifice or compromise to be like, okay, this is our middle road and we're both good. I've given this up, or I'm willing to do this. You've made these concessions to do this, and we're here. And the question is, are you able to maintain that though too? Right. And that, of course, is always changing too, based on your personal preferences, what makes you happy, I think though.
And based on trends in industry too, because our industry is based on trends too. So one moment you're hot, everybody wants to put you in all the campaigns and all the magazines and put you on all the events, and then the next minute they're going to somewhere else. Exactly. And then you're going, okay, I've developed this lifestyle. Now we've got to readjust again and readjust again and readjust again. That can be quite challenging. So now when I look back on my life and I say, okay, what do I want to earn today? Yeah, I don't need to have the luxury, like you saw all the Michelin star restaurants and all the 5-star hotels. I don't need all that.
What do you need? What do you need in order to feel successful?
You know what? I want to be able to just, if I want to go on a holiday,
You never go on holidays, man.
I never go on holidays. If I ever want to, that I
You
can
could.
spend 5 days and not go, oh man, I can't spend this much because I got bills I have to pay the next month. I don't want that feeling. And that to me is success. It doesn't mean I have to be a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire. But if you can say, hey, look, I can throw $7,000 with the, you know, and enjoy ourselves and not worry about next month's bills, that's success for me. That's as simple as that.
On that note,
Yeah.
I want to, now where you are, I think for you right now, at your place right now, in terms of your lifestyle, how much do you need to make each month to be successful right now? How much? What would be your target amount?
Well, according to ChatGPT 4.0, because I ran it through the AI to actually help me with this, and funny enough, it actually was very.
What is it like? Do you put in all your
Yes.
expenses?
It's
all your
phenomenal.
expenses?
It will break down everything and tell you how much you can spend. It's phenomenal.
AI, when you're in
Honestly,
doubt,
AI helps you out a lot, guys. If you're worried about this, try AI. I actually spent about 3 hours the other night, about last week, doing this and putting all my bills down, going through all my bank statements and say, how much do I need to earn a month?
What would be the lowest threshold, the lowest number for you to feel like you're doing well?
I'd say right now, 20K a month.
20K a month, okay.
20, and that's to put money aside. That's not just expenses per month, but actually put money aside to save. Because as you know, as we're getting older, we have to save more. We actually have to start investing.
I mean, for me, I think 20K, I mean, for someone like you, I think 20K seems quite high. Because not like you are married, not like you have kids.
Do you know what's very funny?
You have a pretty,
Do you know what's very funny?
pretty nice lifestyle, man.
No,
huh?
no. Honestly, I'll tell you something right now. I thought the same thing until I actually started looking at my expenses. per
Until I
month.
started trying 3-star Michelin restaurants.
No. I don't do that.
I know, I'm just
I mean,
teasing
but the thing is, you know, we go to Five Guys. You know, we love Five Guys, and that's an expensive burger. But I mean, but you know, even then. But I'm just saying that when I was looking at everything, because now we have a car, you know, and then I talk about the car payment, then rental, then the electric bills, then credit card bill, and then just covering the basic necessities, right? And I'm talking, by the time I'm done with all that, my insurance, because obviously you got to put money for, you know, aside for insurance as we get older, and that gets expensive. It's not a couple $100 a month. It's almost $1,000 a month when you look at insurance. You know, especially for plans, they get into cancer and different things that may come up. You know, and you look at investments. You know, I was like in petrol and then groceries and.
That all adds up to 20K, huh?
No, it doesn't. No, it adds up to about 10 plus,
Okay.
right? But then you got to factor in the
And I
what
gotta put
ifs.
another 10.
No, because I want to be able to save money because I realize, look, we're at an age right now that while we're doing okay, we may not be doing okay in the next 2 to 3 years.
No, we're like in the very end. I'm on the very last leg
and
of my career.
that's why I'm always thinking about transitioning, looking at other options. So I always think about if I could put 5K a month, that's my savings is 5K a month. I'm high, but I think about that.
You are high, man. What are you smoking, man? I need
No,
some of that.
but I think about that if I can put 5K a month because that's for a rainy day. Because I've had situations where my dog got sick, she's had surgery, dog bill. I mean, just getting a CT scan is like $4,000 for a dog now. It's MRI is like 4,000 plus.
Yeah, being a doggy style daddy is no joke.
It's not no joke.
You know,
but I mean,
it's not just all fun, you know, on all fours.
But it's holy shit, this is getting in the video. But it's just that the cost of living has gone up. And I think to myself, you know, if I can put 5K, that's just me. Some people 1K, ChatGPT says I just need to put 1K a month aside, by the way.
Screw that, fuck that, I'm putting
I'm
5,
I'm
bitch.
like 5K. I'm 5K, but that's where because you know what it is, I always aim high because if I don't make that, then I'm at a much more realistic level, okay? So it was always like when you negotiate for a salary, you always aim to get the most, but you sort of settle down in between. So if I can like save $2,000 a month, that'd be great.
All right, well, that was really, really enlightening. I think the take-home thing, I think for me, from talking to you, it's been awesome, you know, knowing all this time is there isn't a fixed amount, I think, you know, a fixed magic number for any man to have to aspire towards to be deemed a successful daddy. I think for each of us, it's, for what I would advise for everyone is just to, you know, be able to try and assess, you know, what are the important things in your life that you need to have, not want, but need in order to be happy. And if you're able to do that with less, then of course that number is going to be lower. If it's going to be higher, then of course you have to maybe strive and work harder for that too. Are you single? Are you with someone? Do you want to start a family? There's all different factors that will change. So don't ever feel the pressure. There's like a magic 10K or 20K or 50K or 5K. Like, it's all going to change. We know our fixed costs, each month. We know our variable costs. And I do you agree with me? What do you think?
I definitely agree. I mean, this is a conversation that I think will continue in the comment section below of this video, and people will be talking about this because everybody's going to have a various different experience based on their life story. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and we'll try to answer those for you as well. And with that, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of
Call Us Daddy. And make sure you call him Daddy when you see him.